Hi there. Welcome to Apple World. At the point when I said Whoopi Goldberg was the assist with allowing me to let you know what I implied by that to my younger siblings, saying you just gotta do it allowed me to school you on the off chance that they not paying you child, that is called subjection when you called me with the morning show on the telephone. I told you Steve my family is experiencing behind this, and you all realize I did nothing out of sorts. It seems to be Monique has been at long last justified, very nearly a long time. Me, since she freely got down on Oprah Winfrey for debasing her. However, we can't fail to remember that Monique didn't simply uncover Oprah, she likewise got down on all the business fakes who favored Oprah and blamed everything on her, including Whoopi Goldberg and Steve Harvey after Taraji P. Henson's. As of late uncovered, she nearly left the new Oprah-delivered transformation of purple overlope fans, took to online entertainment to say Monique merits an expression of remorse, since back in 2009 Monique you said exactly the same thing Taraji is currently saying. But she was named as severe and irate and, surprisingly, Monique's industry peers freely openly hammered her for really considering expressing no to Oprah. Among her most intense pundits were Whoopi Goldberg and Steve Harvey, who added to this vindictive story about Monique being troublesome. However, Monique would not be hushed, and she uncovered Whoopi and Steve for being Oprah's lab canines who just consideration about their own self-centered interest while openly teaching about their affection for the local area. So what precisely did Monique say about Whoopi and Steve, and is what is going on with Taraji evidence that Monique was correct up and down? We should get into it. However, none of you all continuously progressively was sufficiently able to go freely and say we can't toss our sister under the transport on the off chance that you missed it. Oprah Winfrey is confronting Wild's reaction after Taraji P. Henson uncovered she had nearly left purple since they attempted to lowball her. The new variety of purple film was co-created by Oprah, Steven Spielberg, Scott Sanders, and Quincy Jones, and keeping in mind that Oprah isn't the one composing the checks to entertainers considering the impact she has. You would figure she would attempt to utilize that leverage to serve Taraji arrange a more significant compensation, yet see that is not even the greatest issue, and perhaps this could never have exploded so much on the off chance that this was whenever Oprah first gotten this sort of analysis anyway. Very nearly 15 years prior, Taraji stood up. Monique openly uncovered Oprah for attempting to lowball her, and she even asserted that Oprah and Tyler Perry got her boycotted in the business. The situation began after the arrival of the 2009 film Valuable, created by Oprah and Tyler Perry and coordinated by Lee Daniels. Monique got broad praise for her mind-boggling presentation and won the Oscar for Best Supporting Entertainer. And since Monique's exhibition made such a lot of buzz, Oprah and Tyler requested that she go on a press visit overseas to advance the film. However, here's the kicker: they would have rather not paid her for this, so Monique declined making sense of. She'd prefer invest energy with her significant other and kids subsequent to placing into such an extent exertion into Valuable, and as indicated and by Monique when she expressed no to Oprah and Tyler Perry headline fired, springing up painting her as troublesome and difficult to work with. Just after Valuable hit screens, Monique looked as a few roles that came her direction unexpectedly evaporated like a phantom. Hollywood appeared to have forcibly closed its entryway on her. Monique later let the Hollywood journalist know that Lee Daniels conceded she was being debased, and when she asked him for what valid reason have I been renounced, Daniels answered on the grounds that you didn't play the game anyway. When Monique requested that Daniels make sense of what game he was referring to, he didn't have any idea what to say. Yet we can all think about what the game is. They were essentially communicating something specific, that all dark performers need to adore Oprah almost too much and say nothing negative regarding her or disaster will be imminent. Yet Monique didn't allow them to quiet her, and she additionally proceeded to uncover Whoopi Goldberg and Steve Harvey apparently recommending their Oprah's lap canines when Monique showed up on The View and made sense of that she had done every one of the authoritative commitments for Valuable before Oprah and Tyler requested that she accomplish extra work for nothing. Whoopi was exceptionally stooping and demanded that Monique ought to have gone on that visit abroad on the grounds that it's an aspect of her responsibilities. I made my legally binding commitments, and I was all done when I began getting calls from Lee Daniels, Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Lionsgate, and they believed me should come work with the expectation of complimentary. They needed to head toward Cannes and advance this film globally. And I told them, I said, folks, my arrangement is with Lee Daniels, and I've taken care of my business, and they generally concurred, and this occurs as I would see it when you don't go up to the lodging. When I contemplate those ladies that say I will stop you, okay? I will stop okay on the grounds that legally. Yes. When you make a film, paying little heed to who you sign the arrangement with. Yes, your work is to proceed to advance said film. Monique then, at that point, made sense of assuming that going on an abroad press visit free of charge was actually an aspect of her responsibilities. Then the studio would have sued her for break of agreement. However, that didn't occur, so obviously Monique understood what her occupation was, and she did what she was paid for. However, at that point, Whoopi went above and beyond and told Monique she might have educated her on the most proficient method to take care of her business. And I said, assuming you had called me, I might have educated you on what was generally anticipated. And when we had that discussion and what I shared with you, my sweet sister, I expressed Whoopi, at what point do we quit talking about the following time, since what was generally anticipated be that as it may, I need to answer it. However, this word educated didn't agree with Monique, and she later alluded to Whoopi as the assistants in a meeting with Vulture. The very thing I went to The View to talk about was the very thing I encountered on The View. Monique said Whoopi Goldberg has forever been the assistants. And I say that unassumingly. This is a lady who says I might have educated you, and this is a lady who acknowledged Ted Dankin in blackface and our local area. Acclaims this lady, so as a rule, we do it to ourselves. Yet I can't comprehend. I love my sister anyway. When you realize you're being taken care of some unacceptable food, you should. Let's assume I can't bite this you all yet. By and by, the media and Monique's companions reprimanded her and attempted to drive her to apologize to Whoopi anyway. Monique persevered, and she later made sense of she alluded to Whoopi as the assistants because in light of the fact that Whoopi attempted to disgrace her on public television for basically requesting to be made up for her occupation. When I have a lady that tells me on public television, I might have educated you well, you needed to school me on how I should function with the expectation of complimentary. I essentially don't need that sort of training. That is the schooling you're fine with. That is not the training I need, and that is not the instruction I need to pass down to my younger siblings. Saying you just got to do it allowed me to school you in that event that they not paying you child. That is called subjugation. However, it wasn't simply Whoopi who attempted to gaslight Monique and paint her as careless. There was additionally Oprah's other old buddy, Steve Harvey, who previously told Monique in confidential he conferred with her. However, at that point went on air and rammed for cutting off ties. Presently, Steve's been in a tough situation for purportedly throwing many of his partners under the transport. To give you only one model, the late B. Arnie M. guaranteed that Steve attempted to take his job in C's 11 and supposedly went despite his good faith to attempt furthermore. Persuade the studio they ought to give the job to him, and afterward, Monique likewise joined the rundown of individuals Steve double-crossed, and she openly called him out for being a defeatist. Steve then, at that point, welcomed Monique to his show to clear things up, and however he attempted to call her out and school her the same way Whoopi attempted to, Monique didn't allow Steve to flip the account, and she defied him about being too confrontational. We got named as troublesome on the grounds that I said a single word, and that was no. Now, I have said no to a few extremely influential individuals. I said no to Oprah Winfrey. I expressed no to Tyler Perry. I expressed no to Lee Daniels, and I expressed no to Lion's Entryway. And when I heard you go in the air and you said my sister and cut off many ties, and there's nothing I can accomplish for her now, Steve, do you have at least some idea how harmed I was? What I would have appreciated from my sibling was had you gotten the telephone before you continued the air and said, Monique, you cut off an excessive number of ties, and there's nothing I can do. I would have appreciated it had my sibling hit me up and said, child, we should talk, since you doing that was a piece of me being troublesome, yet not before that. Monique likewise apparently went after Steve, indicating. Subscribe Apple World for more videos.